Today on Zola Levitt Presents.
On our program today, some good news out of Jerusalem with Pastor Wayne Hilsden of King of Kings.
The following is a paid program by Zola Levitt Ministries. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Zola Levitt presents
Shalom and welcome to our program. I'm Myles Weiss.
And I'm Katharine Weiss, and we want to welcome you to a special edition that we have with our good friend
Wayne Hilsden, the pastor of King of Kings Church in Jerusalem, and now the president of FIRM, the Fellowship of Israel-Related Ministries. We've been looking forward to this.
Absolutely. You know, Myles and I have the privilege of serving on this board and many others because they recognize that not only are we supposed to support Israel itself, but the believers in the land. And this is exactly what it does. In Daniel 11:32, it says, "Those that know their God shall stand firm and take action." Let's go now and hear more about what exactly FIRM is all about.
Wayne, thank you for being here.
It's awesome to be with you.
You know, we've looked forward to this for a season now because there's something new happening in the earth. You know, there's been a resurgence of understanding of what Israel is, who the Jewish people are among the church, and even in the world today. There's so much attention there. But you've got a long story of how someone gets from Canada to Jerusalem. Could you give us a little bit of background?
Well, my wife and I moved to Israel in 1983. We had two boys at the time, very young, and we had an invitation out of the blue. We had never been to Israel before, and we were in a pastor's home, and he was sharing how he felt called to go to Israel and had shared that vision actually with some government officials in Israel, and they came up with this idea of, why don't you start a congregation in Jerusalem?
Amazing.
And he said, well, I'll pray about that. And he's sharing the story at their dining room table. And he said, when it's time to start this congregation in Jerusalem, would you and Ann come and help us do that? I found out later he didn't even pray about that. But the Lord used that to get us curious.
Yes.
And we began to pray, read everything we could on Israel and Jewish history. And then we finally did a spy out the land tour. And we wanted confirmation. And the Lord really gave that confirmation. And so we began to prepare to go, and we moved and helped them plant a little congregation, which is really just a Bible study in a small apartment in downtown Jerusalem.
And that was over 30 years ago now.
32, yeah.
32 years, and started with a few people.
We had 17 people. That included our two families. And we counted, I think, a couple of dogs and cats.
Okay, there you go.
And we had some university students from the Hebrew University.
Right. So now, King of Kings, where you pastor, is kind of the hub of the international movement through Jerusalem and through Israel. I think everyone who comes to Israel goes through there or preaches there or sees what you're doing there. It's a centerpiece of what God is doing. And from there, you've planted other works, right?
Yeah, out of King of Kings, we planted 3 other congregations. Those have been Hebrew-speaking.
Great.
So while people know us for our international English-speaking gatherings on Sunday, you know, behind the scenes we're very involved on the local level. Planted a Bible college as well, which is now Israel College of the Bible.
Yes.
And we don't run that. We've been able to just watch that grow and develop and be blessed that we had a chance to play a small part at the beginning of that.
So in the midst of doing that, I thought that India was the most complex place on earth until I got to Jerusalem. And you realize that there are so many forces. I think about the psalmist saying that Israel is compact together. More things happen in a day than anywhere on the earth. You have to be a statesman, a businessman, a politician, a preacher, a pastor, a counselor. It takes a lot of hats that you need to wear to do this. You've got great relationship with the government, don't you?
We do. I think that they've recognized that because we're a bit of a hub and people come from all over the world, that's good for Israel. I mean, that Christians are coming, seeing it with their own eyes, going back as ambassadors for Israel. And so we play a part in that.
Yeah. And there's also a connection with the local Arab fellowships. I think there's a good relationship with the Arab Christians too.
Yeah, really. In fact, one of our 3 main things that we believe God called us to do is to be a catalyst for unity and cooperation in the body. So we've really made it our business over all these years to just befriend everybody that's doing good work for the kingdom and trying to be kingdom-minded in what we do. For instance, we have 10 congregations now using our various facilities, and we just keep adding new congregations, different language groups, and we're hoping for an Arabic congregation to be one of the next ones.
That would be wonderful. I know that's been Katharine and mine, that's our heartbeat, is that I call it healing the family feud, that the cousins would get back together. And we see it happening, you know, here and there, now and then. There is growth between the Messianic Jews and the Arab Christians because we are in unity. We just have to learn how to live that out. What about the growth you've seen in the body of Messiah in the many years you've been there? How has it changed?
Well, back in those years, in '83, there were about 500 Jewish believers that we were aware of in the whole country. And that's getting close to 20,000 now. So that's a big difference.
Yes.
In Jerusalem, there were about 3 congregations. Today, I think there's about 20.
Wow.
Back then, no one had a 24/7 prayer house, and today, I think it's close to 7 in Jerusalem alone, in one city of just over 800,000 people. So I think that that's an indication that God's about to do something really big. He raises up the intercessors and the prophetic voices, and he's looking for people that will cooperate with his purposes. And you know, prayer is work. It's hard. It can be a challenge, but people are excited about seeking the face of God and believing that he's about to fulfill all of his promises that he's given.
It's amazing. I don't think our people, necessarily our viewers, are aware of the reality that there is prayer going up. There are watchmen on the walls taking that literally and praying for the peace of Jerusalem, because we say that at the end of every program. Doing that day and night in Jerusalem. You said 7 prayer houses now are doing that all the time.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
You know, the theme for almost every prayer house is Isaiah 62. I have set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And give him no rest.
Yes.
So that's where the 24/7 comes in.
Right.
Just continually knock on the doors of heaven until he makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth.
Wow. Well, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back in a moment.
Your financial contributions to Zola Levitt Ministries enable us to bring you our weekly television series, our monthly newsletter, and our website. But you may not know your gifts of funds also support other ministries that share the gospel here and in Israel through our To the Jew First Fund, Eitan Shishkoff, our man in Haifa, and the Good News Fund. We welcome your donations to Zola Levitt Ministries as we serve together until our Messiah returns.
Hi, you know, a good question to ask yourself might be, where else can you find solid Bible teaching regarding prophecy for these last days? Well, Zola Levitt Ministries has been doing exactly that for more than 35 years and will continue with your support. Your gifts of financial support is what enables us to do this. We want to remind you there's 3 ways: online, through the mail, or just give us a phone call. And thank you.
We're back with Pastor Wayne Hilsden from King of Kings in Jerusalem. Wayne, you've talked a little bit about the demographic changes, the growth in the body. What about some of the transformational aspects of what you do at the pavilion? I know there's been real growth on the inside of the hearts as well.
Well, it's interesting. We got into a movie theater, transformed it into a sanctuary and worship center. And we didn't realize that we would go beyond that. That was where our faith level was. And then the Lord led us to buy the top floor of the same building, 17 floors up, and we built the Jerusalem Prayer Tower. So that's been an amazing development in our building.
Yeah.
And a cool thing that's happened in the last few years, there were 2 porn shops just outside the entrance to our main congregational center.
Downtown.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the holy city of all places.
Right.
And we prayed for many years that they would go.
Yes.
And finally, we woke up. Some things don't go out except through prayer and fasting.
Yes.
So we began to fast.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, one of the owners that we had never met, and actually we heard he was part of the mafia and we were afraid to meet him, suddenly walks up to us in the middle of a conference and asks one of our friends, "Are you part of this community?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Would you like to buy my shop?" And it happened to be that shop that we'd been praying about. And by the end of that day, we had a verbal agreement, and then within a few days we had a a contract signed, sealed, and delivered.
Amazing.
And then the second shop finally got them out, and that one we've turned into a family counseling center. Catherine Snyder did her doctorate in family counseling at Fuller Seminary, doing an awesome job. We even have courses now, especially for leaders to deal with people with porn addiction and so on.
Amazing.
So what a redemption we've seen in that building. And that's just the start. There are many other things happening. You know, we've ended up opening a cafe and some other businesses that are related to that.
Right, so it's really a full-orbed community. And really see that we're living in unique times. When we come back, I want to talk about this new initiative coming out of Jerusalem. So let's celebrate the transformation that we're seeing in Jerusalem and around the world as we go to Paul Wilbur at King of Kings in Jerusalem.
Who is like him, Lion and the Lamb, seated on the throne? Mountains bow down, every ocean roars to the Lord of hosts. Come praise him, praise Adonai. From the rising of the sun to the end of every day, praise Adonai. All the nations of the earth, all the angels and the saints sing praise.
Israel is a land full of promises. You will never be the same, so we invite you to come. It's a trip of a lifetime. We'd love you to join us.
Catherine, I can really see how God's hand has been on you and your family to bring you into this amazing placement in ministry, and now there's a new door opening, and I'm very excited about it as a Jewish believer. Please tell our viewers about FIRM, the Fellowship of Israel-Related Ministries.
I've had a heart for this for 3 years, hoping that somebody else would pick up this vision. And the vision really is to develop a global family of ministries that have a heart for Israel, have a heart for the Jewish community around the world, where we come to know each other, we see some synergy happen, not to develop a covering or an umbrella of all these ministries and they all come under FIRM,
right,
but really an undergird. It's just the opposite. We come under to give a wider platform for these excellent ministries that are doing their work that most of the world has never heard of. And actually some of the best ministries are unheard of. They're in little tiny corners in Israel or somewhere else in the world, but we know who they are, and we're doing our research and we're developing those relationships. It really is about relationships, so Fellowship of Israel-Related Ministries.
Right. This is not an anonymous kind of sending a check somewhere or supporting something because it sounds like a good idea. These are groups, people, individuals that you have vetted, that we as FIRM, that you're understanding that they're doing the work of sharing the gospel and being a blessing to the social and cultural life of Israel.
Exactly.
And this is not, see, on our journey, we began bringing leaders to Israel with the idea of Genesis 12, 1 through 3. It's going to be a blessing for the Christian church. And along the way, God spoke to us. You need to show them the ancient rocks, but have them meet the living stones. You're speaking about the living stones in Israel. Tell us about that.
Well, we want to make sure that when people come to Israel, and we have millions now that come every year,
yes,
and those who are Christians, who have a heart for the nation, we want them to actually meet the people, the believers in the land, and to be able to pray with them.
Yes.
And sometimes there'll be partnerships that develop in a natural kind of way, just their hearts connect.
Yes.
And we want to see that happen. But to do that, it needs an initiative. It has to be intentional. And we're going to be creating these gatherings where people meet each other. And I call it sometimes a matchmaking organization. So we'll find out about a church that really has a heart for helping the poor.
Yes.
So we'll point them to a ministry that's engaged in helping the poor.
Yes.
Others want to plant congregations, get behind that. So we'll point them to people doing that. Others want to see leaders trained up. So we'll point them to various Bible colleges and other educational opportunities that they have.
Wow. So this represents a major shift from Genesis 12, 1 through 3, which is still in place. I will bless those who bless the sons of Abraham and curse those who curse. But it also represents a new dimension of Galatians 6:10, that we're to do good to all men, especially those of the household of faith.
Exactly.
So this hasn't happened before. In this level where a global initiative is in place to support the body of Messiah, the preaching of the gospel, and the Jewish believers who are often marginalized in Israel.
Yeah, we're doing new stuff, breaking new ground, and anything you start, has its challenges, but we're seeing amazing favor. If people go to our social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you'll see there's incredible engagement. So we've realized we've actually touched something that there's a need out there.
Yes.
People want to engage with Israel, and we're updating stuff 3-4 times a day.
Wow.
And so prayer points are being given, and we go live streaming with a prayer meeting every month so people can engage with us in prayer.
Yes.
And they're seeing local believers and leaders in the land bringing those prayer requests, those praise reports. And so it's not just way over on the other side of the world, they can be part and parcel of what's happening.
It's interesting that when we came on board at Zola Levitt, the first series that we were assigned to do was already in place, was the story of Ruth, which of course Catherine and myself, Jew and Gentile, together looking for Boaz, kinsman redeemer. And then as soon as we were done with that, we wanted to do Acts Then and Now, the story continues, because it was our heart to highlight these amazing ministries in Israel that are still doing the work that goes back to the beginning of the church, beginning of the congregation of faith. And so now you are at the hub of helping the church around the world to support viable, life-giving works in Israel. Has there been a lot of resistance to what you're doing?
There's a bit of resistance in the fact that we're openly identifying with and supporting Messianic Jewish believers. So there are lots of Christians who love Israel, and their way of loving Israel is to support the government of Israel and its policies or help with humanitarian aid. And these are all good things.
Yes.
But we're adding that extra dimension.
Yes.
Well, hey, are you connecting with your brothers and sisters?
Yes.
These are the people that are actually working on your behalf, representing you for the kingdom.
Yes.
And most people don't know anything about these groups.
It's quite amazing, isn't it, that there's such a, in a sense, a disconnect in that even many leaders don't understand the difficulty that the believers in the land face. And for us, I mean, we're going back and forth all the time, so we have it easy. But for our brothers and sisters in the land, it's a challenge to be a part of Israeli society and yet be true to the one who called them.
Yeah. Another aspect of what we do is it's really hard for a ministry to blow their own trumpet.
Yeah.
So let another man praise you.
Yes.
So we're that other man
Yes.
praising what God's doing through a particular individual or a ministry, and making sure that they're doing things with good stewardship, good governance, and that way we can confidently say there's a ministry to invest in.
Well, I don't want to overly sing your praises to your face, but I have to say, and I'm going to probably do it now as well, every time you tell this story to a Jewish believer, they cry, because there's something that touches us very, very deeply to know that there are evangelical Christians, believers who are Gentile and who recognize that we're past the time when we can ignore the Jewish part of the body. And the body of Christ worldwide needs to realize that we're also family. And so I want to thank you for that. Give us some idea of the board, and I want you to tell us also about the 1% challenge in all its aspects.
Okay. Well, we've got an amazing board, partly because you and Katharine are on the board.
Thank you.
And we have a wonderful man named Pastor Jack Hayford.
I've heard of him.
And 3 years ago, he was the first one I shared this vision with. And he said, Wayne, I so believe this is God that I'll do anything you ask me to do. And I've tested him, and he's helped in significant ways. But we have incredible endorsements from Anne Graham Lotz, the daughter of Billy Graham.
Yes.
Robert Morris, pastor at Gateway Church.
Yes.
We've got people like Jonathan Burness, Jewish Voice. And we've got Zola Levitt Ministries that are endorsing our work. And an incredible variety of board members from all over the world.
Yes.
So we want people from every continent to be engaged with Firm.
That's very important. It's not an American initiative.
Exactly.
Tell us about some of the nations that are already involved.
Well, Africa. Just came back from Kampala, Uganda, preached in a 25,000 member church. They have an incredible heart for Israel, and they've been taking up offerings for ministries in Israel exceeding $200,000 now over the past several years. Amazing. And the average wage in Kampala is less than $1,000 a year. So just imagine the sacrifice that they're making. And I found in Africa, there's a love for Israel that I haven't seen anywhere else in the world. And there's not that anti-Semitism that we see arising in Europe and much of the West. I find that in Asia as well. They don't have a history of anti-Semitism, and they're starting to engage with Israel and the body of believers in the land. Wow. So I'll be in Singapore soon, and I'll be traveling all over the world, really, to raise the banner for the body of believers in the land of Israel.
This is so wonderful. Give us a quick understanding of what the 1% challenge is, beginning with prayer.
Well, we've designed something that I think is tangible and people can grasp it easily. We're encouraging people to pray 1% of their day, 14 minutes, for Israel and the salvation of Israel. We're encouraging them to spend 1% of their year volunteering in some way, whether it's your ministry or another. Maybe you need a graphic artist to do a new logo for you, and they can devote a certain number of hours every week or every month, or come and just say, hey, I've got 3.5 days. What can I do for you? And you put them to work.
Wow.
And so that's awesome. And also, there are congregations now, and they've gotten inspiration, especially from Pastor Robert Morris at Gateway Church, to give 1% of their income to ministries related to Israel. That's what Gateway's been doing for years.
Yes.
And many, many congregations are picking that up. And we're encouraging, challenging other pastors and leaders to consider that.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
And I know, because our home place in California, our pastor there writes the first check every month to Ministries in Israel, because we believe the gospel is to the Jew first and also to the nations, and we believe there's a blessing in it. Wayne, this is a historic moment that we're in, And I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
That was a great interview with Wayne and Myles. I love what God is doing in these days. You know, this is what we're all about, good news and moving forward in kingdom-minded endeavors.
Yes, it's really a dream come true for Jewish believers to know that the Christian church around the world is being called up, not just to stand with national Israel, which is important, and we support that always, but also to recognize these laborers in the land, the body of Messiah in the land that are preaching the good news and doing wonderful cultural, social work in Israel as well.
I believe it's part of Ezekiel 37, that pouring that fresh water. This is part of letting the Messianics in the land be saturated with support, with life, and ministries like ourselves that stand with believing Jewish people and don't despise them for receiving the Messiah, especially, but affirm that.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. And Wayne's the right person for the job. It's really a moment in time where we see a shift happening in the entire body worldwide. It's very exciting. And what's coming up is an encounter in Jerusalem in 2016. Be looking for a conference that will be geared towards young people, especially, so that young people and their parents can come and see the land and also meet the people, meet the living stones, see the ancient rocks and meet the living stones as well. It's a very exciting time to be doing this.
It's so wonderful to know that the young people will get an opportunity, just like the Jewish people are supported to come back and see the land. We're wanting the young people to have that same experience.
Yes, exactly. Right, and so in this exciting time, we're grateful to be with you. We're grateful to bring these programs to you, and we always want to remind you, Sha'alu, Shalom Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Our monthly newsletter, The Levitt Letter, is free and full of insightful articles and news commentary from a messianic perspective. Visit levitt.com to find our newsletter, along with current and past programs, our television schedule, and much more. Donations to Zola Levitt Ministries help these organizations bless Israel. Please remember, Zola Levitt Ministries depends on tax-deductible donations from viewers like you. This has been a paid program by Zola Levitt Ministries.